Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, it's the 90% that like that feels like that's the point at which like, okay, I think maybe I can do something with this, right? I can get this there. And it's that 10% where it's like, oh, that defines either the descent into mania or the it's like, wow, the world is could possibly be a good place. Um so the yeah, I mean, the so I think the magic is in the 10%. So much for me is about sides of the tip, right? Sides of the tip, the balance between the sides of the tip and how thin the middle of the tip is, right? So your sides of the tip are kind of your lever for creating like drawing in the sound, right? Softening the sound a little bit, um, and also making things a little bit more refined. I'm also always thinking about scraping into what I call the shoulders, right? So it's that spot right where the tip starts. So right where the rails end and the tip starts. That area, if you're experiencing, most of the time, like when we have a read, when we start a read, there's too much going on, right? It's an issue of trying to get this thing hewn into something that we can control. So I think the lever issue of like the sides of the tip plus scraping into that shoulder can give you the necessary amount of control to feel like this read is starting to become the 95, the 98, and 100% finished.
Can I add one thing to that? Make sure your oboe's ceiling when you're making reads. Make sure your oboe's adjusted. I mean, that's why I'm like usually at Simon's every 2 months. Make sure your oboe is ceiling. I can't stress that enough. Your reads will go crazy if your oboe is just not simply adjusted, and you would do all kinds of wacky stuff. You used to be too hard or too thin. So start with the biggest thing that's there, and make sure your gouge is also adjusted. Make sure the cane that you have to your gouge, because your read is pretty much 80% done when it's off that gouging machine. And then you're doing that physical labor, right? So make sure all those things are in adjustment. Make sure you're selecting the right piece of cane, and then those steps will become just way easier than they are if all those things are. And a sharp knife, of course, a very, very sharp knife. Keep it sharp at all times, and finishing a read will be a lot easier to take out those little small parts, because you won't be scraping such a wide area and destroying your read because your knife is not sharp enough.